Hi, I'm Josh Kramer. Welcome to 30 Days of Mindful Movement with Alo Yoga. The theme for this week is Energize, and today's class is focused on dynamic movement. We're going to be working a lot with the outer hips and the hamstrings, so if you're a bit tight in the hamstrings, grab a couple of blocks and have those handy throughout the class. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and leave a comment to let us know how you're going with this challenge. Let's get started in Uttanasan at the front of the mat. With the feet hips distance apart, take a slight bend in the knees and gently fold forward. Allow the hands to rest wherever they're comfortable, on the floor, on blocks, maybe hold the elbows. Start to ease into the hamstrings. Today's class is dynamic in nature. The moves themselves will be familiar. The idea here is to incorporate dynamic movement with repetitions to help us deepen into the flow, deepen into the stretches, to intensify the stretch on the muscles by adding tension. Once your hamstrings feel like they're coming to life, I invite you to place the fingertips on the mat and start adding a pulsing motion, drawing the chin towards the mat as you bring tension into the hamstrings. If you're practicing first thing in the morning and you're quite cold, maybe take it a bit easy here. It's a nice hot sunny day where I am, so my hamstrings feel ready for this more intense and dynamic movement. Yours might not be. Take what you need to make the pose feel right for you. That's what dynamic means. It implies that we are tailor-making the pose and the motions to suit us. Little micro bends in each knee, if that feels good. When you're ready, heel toe the feet out to a wide straddle, as wide as feels comfortable for you. Exhale, start to fold forward. Bring in that dynamic movement again. Reach the fingertips forward and think of pulsing the chest towards the mat, lifting the kneecaps to engage the quadriceps. Press firmly into the outer edge of the feet, lifting the inner arch. Finding that depth, working into the fascia. Our muscles are often limited by our nervous system. It causes our body to hold on and become tense. And if we apply gentle stress to those muscles, to the nervous system, eventually it begins to release. Maybe you reach the hands back, pulsing down, reaching with the fingertips. Couple more breaths. Inhale to flat back. Heel toe the feet in, finding Uttanasana. And on an inhale, we're going to come to standing. Hug the right knee into the chest. Give it a little pull. Find your balance in your left leg. Bring the hands into heart center once you have your balance. And on an exhale, pivoting from the hips, send that right leg back, straighten it out, finding warrior three. Start to bend into the left leg, keeping that right leg firm, straight and active. How low can you go until your torso touches your thigh? And then tap the foot down. The back toes tapping the mat. Press it back up, warrior three. Bring the right knee into the chest, reset. Let's do 4 more repetitions of that, finding the integrity of the poses as we move through this dynamic motion. Send it back, warrior three, bend into the front knee, tap the toe down, warrior three, knee into the chest. 3 more. Send it back, tap the foot down. We'll call these crescent taps. Bring the right leg up and hug it into the chest. 2 more, a little bit more momentum here. Moving dynamically. How low can you sink in that lunge? Knee into the chest. Send it back 1 last time, warrior three, bend into the front knee. Tap the toe down and lower the back knee down, making your way into Kapiyasana or a low lunge. Readjust if you need to. Place the hands on the front knee, sinking into the stretch, dynamically pulsing forward. I like to keep my hands on the knee as I do this. The options are inhaling the arms overhead, or maybe exhale, clasp them behind your back, drawing the shoulders back and down, lifting the sternum. Connect with what your body needs today. Energize your body through your dynamic movement, keeping it personal to you. One breath. Frame the front foot with the hands. Step the back foot to meet the front. Exhale, Uttanasana. You might feel a lot more open this time round. On an inhale, roll yourself up to standing. Bring the left knee into the chest, moving on to the opposite side. Hands to heart center, send it back. Warrior 3. Bend into the right knee, chest to thigh. Tap the back foot down for the crescent tap. Send it back. Knee into the chest. 4 more. Warrior 3. Crescent tap. Knee to the chest. 3 more. Use your breath. 2 more. On your last one, pause in Warrior 3. Lower down, tap the foot, finding that crescent tap, and lower the back knee down, Kapiyasana. Readjust, pulsing forward, drawing the right hip towards the right heel, working into the deep tissue, the fascia, connective tissue. Lift the chest, draw the shoulders back and down. When we think of dynamic movement, sometimes we think of big global shifts like I'm doing now, but often it's the micro movements we do inside our body that help us deepen into the stretch. When you're ready, frame the front foot, step the back foot to meet the front, exhale, Uttanasana. We'll make our way through 4 sun salutations here. Be playful with it, take whatever variations you need. Maybe incorporate that pulsing dynamic movement as we flow. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, step back through plank pose. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. And downward facing dog. Pulsing the chest to the mat if you like. Gaze forward, step or jump to the front of the mat. Inhale halfway. Exhale, fold. Pulsing action here in Uttanasana. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Tadasana. Let's move through 3 more sequences in your own time, working with your own breath. Inhale, hands overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale halfway. Exhale, step, jump, float, fly it back. Upward facing. And downward facing dog. Gaze between the hands. Make your way to the front. Forward fold. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Tadasana. 2 more rounds. Meeting in downward facing dog. Gaze between the hands. Step, jump, float, fly to the front of the mat. Inhale halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands to heart center. Last one. Let's move through this together. Urdhva Hastasana. Reach up, extend up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale halfway. Exhale, back through your vinyasa. Upward facing dog. And downward facing. Pause here. Reconnect with the breath. Feel what your muscles need and dynamically and intuitively move into them. Gaze between the hands. Step or jump to the front of the mat. Inhale, finding chair pose. Bring the hands into your heart center. On an exhale, twisting to the right. Gently place your left elbow on the outside edge of your right knee. Avoid the temptation to really press into it and collapse. Use the core to twist. Bring the weight onto your right foot. Start to make your way onto your left toes. Draw the left knee in towards the left armpit. And start to extend it back, keeping the bend in the right knee, finding a hovering revolved crescent. In one motion, straighten the right leg, find warrior 3 pose. Pause. If you like, reach back, clasp the hands. See if you can thread the left foot through the hands, finding a bound warrior 3. Draw the chest forward, draw the shoulders back. One breath, release the clasp, bring the hands back into the heart center. Start to bend into the front knee, going for our crescent taps. 1. If you need to readjust, that's fine. 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, finding crescent pose. Readjust here. Inhale the arms up, work the back leg. We're going to move into crescent to figure 4 transitions. From crescent pose, shift forward, bring the hands into your heart center, cross the left ankle over the right knee, sink the hips down, finding Galavasana or figure 4. In one motion, sending the left leg back, finding crescent. You can keep the hands in prayer or bring them overhead, whatever feels good to you. Let's go through 4 more repetitions. Galavasana. Sink it down and send it back, crescent pose. Galavasana. Send it back, slow and controlled. Dynamic movement does not mean that we lose control. 2 more. Galavasana. And crescent. You'll be feeling this in that right outer hip and glute. Last one. Sink it down, find Galavasana. Option here for a little grasshopper playtime. Plant the fingertips down, start to readjust, sink the hips down. Cross the left elbow over, bringing your left foot on top of your left tricep. Set yourself up, planting your right elbow into your right hip, shifting the weight forward, finding Grasshopper Pose. This pose is a combination of friction, stacking, and muscle engagement. Have a play with it. See what you might be capable of, and you might surprise yourself. One breath. Return back to center, finding Galavasana. And press yourself up, finding Uttanasan at the front of your mat. Exhale, fold. Take a little break here. Cycle the feet out. Allow your body to become heavy, maybe pulsing forward. On an inhale, find chair pose. Bring the hands into heart center, this time twisting to the left. Use the core as opposed to creating traction on that left knee. Bring the weight into the left foot as you come onto the right toes. Hug the right knee up into the shoulder and extend it back, finding that hovering revolved crescent. Straighten in one motion, finding warrior 3. If you like, make your clasp, reach back and thread the right foot through. One side's generally tighter than the other. For me, that's this side. Draw the shoulders back, lift the thigh. When you're ready, release. Hands to heart center, crescent taps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bring it down. Inhale, crescent pose. Bring your hands into heart center. We'll make our way into our figure 4 transitions. Step it forward, right ankle on top of left knee, Galavasana. Slow and controlled, send it back. Crescent pose, dynamic transitions here. Figure 4. And crescent. 3 more. Kalavasana. Crescent. 2 more. Kalavasana. How deep can you sink as you send it back? Last one. Kalavasana. Set yourself up for your arm balance on the opposite side. This time, threading your right elbow in front of your right foot. Shifting the weight over. Straighten your left leg out. Maybe gaze along that left leg, point or flex the toe. Enjoy it for 1 breath. If you want, pause the video and have a play. When you're ready, make your way back and finding Uttanasana. Take a soft bend in the knees, allow the head to become heavy. Exhale, fold. We're going to move into some dynamic stretching, working into some classical stretches, classical poses, and incorporating some personalized dynamic movement to deepen the stretch. Our first pose is pyramid pose, or Pajvatanasana. So, plant firmly into the left foot, reach back with the right, and set yourself up for pyramid pose. If you need, grab your blocks, place them alongside your left foot, and set yourself up. The heel of the left foot tracking in line with the instep of the right, or if you like a wider stance, you can draw the left foot out to the left side of the mat. Start to deepen forward, moving into your stretch. I invite you to add some dynamic movement here, shifting forward and back, pulsing. Feel free and don't be afraid to readjust as we move into this dynamic movement. Hips side to side. Feel where your body needs the stretch and work into that. If you don't need the blocks, move them to the side. If you want to shift the sensation from the hamstring to a more outer hip, IT band on the left side, pigeon toe your left foot so it faces towards the top right corner of your mat, and start to crawl your fingertips over to the left. Press firmly into your right foot and pulse yourself down. Breathe, soften, readjust, maybe opening to the right this time, forward and back, lifting up onto the right back toes, edging forward, and sending it back, dorsiflexing the left foot, creating traction in the heel, pressing into the fingertips. Let's go for 2 more slow breaths here. Begin to find stillness. When you're ready, bend into the front knee, step the back foot to meet the front. Give that left leg a little bit of a shake out. The left hip is working just as hard as the left hamstring. When you're ready, making your way over onto the opposite side, reach back with the left leg this time, finding pyramid pose on the opposite side. Readjust if you need to. A good way to establish whether you have a strong base for your pose is to lift off the hands. If you're feeling a temptation to press firmly into the hands, then that's an indicator that you aren't so stable in the hips and the core. So think about that before you deepen into the stretch. When you're ready, shifting dynamically, whatever feels right to you. I invite you to take that right outer hip stretch, IT band. Draw your right toes to face the left top corner of the mat, slightly pigeon-toed, and walk the right fingertips over to the right. Reaching forward and to the side. Keep pressing firmly into that back left foot. Take any modifications you need. Coming onto the back toes as you walk the hands forward. And then shifting it back, lifting the right toes, creating traction in the right heel, pressing into the fingertips. 2 more slow, controlled breaths. When you're ready, plant the right foot, step the back foot to meet the front, Uttanasan. We're going to move into a dynamic pigeon pose. So make your way down, right knee forward, left foot back, finding pigeon pose. Before coming into the depth, I want you to place your left hand on the sole of your right foot. Press firmly down. As you do that, press into the right hand to support your body. Tuck the back toes under. See if you can lift the right knee up slightly, sending it back. Maybe you go all the way and then send it back down. If you like, you can untuck the back toes. Do that same motion here. Sinking up and down, finding your depth. Do this a few times. For me, this helps me to discover my back hip flexor and create a bit more lubrication in the hip joint before moving into the stretch. Once you've done that a few times, ease your way down onto the forearms. I invite you to readjust and add your dynamic and personal movement in. Maybe that's creeping the arms over to the right, twisting side to side. With dynamic movement, we need to focus on integrity, making sure that we don't collapse into joints. And over to the left. One side might feel a bit more enjoyable to you. If you like coming into full depth of pigeon pose, take 2 deep breaths here. When you're ready, walk yourself back up. Tuck the back toes under and send the right knee back into a tabletop position. Switching sides, left knee forward, making your way into pigeon on the opposite side. Readjust. Same thing we did on the previous side. Place your right hand firmly onto the sole of the left foot and press firmly into your left hand. Tuck the back toes under and lift the hips up, straightening that left leg as best you can, then sinking back down. If you want to untuck the back toes, that's totally fine. Whatever suits your body. Creating some lubrication in that left hip joint. Opening the right hip flexor. Do that a few times. And when you're ready, settling down onto your forearms. Take whatever variations you did on the previous side. Walking the arms over to the left. For me, this intensifies the stretch in the left outer hip. And for some of you who are more open in the hips, you might not feel that same sensation. And so I encourage you to keep exploring until you find that. Walk it over to the opposite side. when you're ready, finding the full depth of your pose. Two slow, deep, controlled, and energetic breaths. Begin to make your way up. And allow yourself to roll onto the left hip. Swing the right leg forward, finding a seat in Dandasana. We'll make our way into Paschimottanasana, or intense forward stretch. We're going to add some dynamic movement in this posture. I want you to think of sending your chin forward of your feet as opposed to drawing them down to the knees or the shin. If you're flexible and open, you might place a block in front of the feet to encourage you to lengthen forward. So, lengthen the spine, lift the crown of the head up, draw the shoulder blades back and down together. Create a anterior pelvic tilt. Draw the chest forward as you lengthen the chin in front of your toes. Take hold of the outer edges of the feet, if that's accessible to you, and begin to pulse your chin forward. Think of lying your chest and your torso along your thighs, dorsiflexing the feet as you do that. You don't necessarily need a block here. Reach forward with the fingertips, pulsing. If you like, reach the left hand over to the right, pulsing them both over to the right side. And then over to the left. Pause at your maximum depth and hold. Take a deep inhale. Exhale, soften, allow yourself to take this new shape. Let's pulse for 5 more seconds, finding a new maximum depth. You might feel yourself a lot deeper in this pose after working in Uttanasana throughout the class with the same motion. A lot of hamstring and outer hip work today. And exhale, pause. So often, this pose and many other forward folding poses get referred to as forward bends or forward folds. I want you to reclassify them as forward stretches. Think of elongating and stretching your spine as opposed to bending and folding. 2 deep breaths here. Point or flex the feet. Give yourself a massage. When you're ready, roll up like a rag doll. Make your way over onto your back and hug the knees into the chest, releasing the low back. Create a little bit of traction by pulling on the shins, the knees. Keep the knees hugging into the chest, lie the arms alongside. And on an exhale, release the knees down to the right. Inhale, then back up to center. Exhale over to the left. Let's do this a couple more times, working with your own breath. Inhale to center. Exhale to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. One more time on each side. Hug the knees into the chest one last time. And lie yourself out for Shavasana. readjust, and get comfortable. You might feel a slight ringing sensation, pins and needles in the hamstrings and the feet. By working dynamically and stressing the muscles, you find a new depth, and that brings new blood, new activity, new energy into areas that we might not have worked so deeply before. So just be aware of that. Allow yourself to naturally quieten down in Shavasana. In order for us to build energy and to energize ourselves, we also need to take time to recharge. And in yoga, Shavasana allows us to do that. So I encourage you to stay here for as long as you need to recharge, re-energize before going about your day. Thank you for allowing me to share this energizing practice with you. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Namaste.